What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised. We are certain everyone has heard about this TV show, because it's one of the most famous ones worldwide. But in case you haven't, Legacies represents one of the best American fantasy drama television series, which was created by the famous Julie Plec, and premiered on the CW on October 25th, 2018. Even if it may look insanely unrealistic, we are about to show you the other side of the show while going through and talking about the process of creation of the same unreal scenes. Stay with us and find out about what Legacies really looks like without CGI.
Incendia!
Number 6. Fans' criticism. It is more than obvious that the producers invested massive money in inexpensive equipment and CGI altogether with various special effects to make the show scenes look that perfect. But regardless, the fans of this TV show claim and consider it to be one of really low quality. We can freely say that there are a great number of weird creatures, gross monsters, and supernatural characters that look fascinating, but fans would still claim that they look absolutely fake and are created with bad quality effects. We must take into consideration the fact that this TV show surely didn't have the budget as the Game of Thrones had, which is one of the best TV shows ever created, but we must admit that the effect in this show doesn't look that bad at all. They are enough of quality and look absolutely acceptable, but still, while some effects in this show turned out to be absolutely amazing, there are various moments where they actually missed the point. For example, some of the fairies' wings were tremendously critiqued by the fans, and that's not a surprise at all. You can see how weird they look. But overall, this TV show is amazing, and no matter what people think, the results speak for themselves. Number 5. The performers matter. Even though the amazing visual effect this show possesses, the incredible ideas, and all those skillful and talented work that the crew makes it into realization, we must admit that without the actual performers, nothing of that would turn out to be so stunning as it is. Yes, they are one of the most important ones in the game, and that is a fact. If the actual actor is not able to bring the character into life and is not able to make an excellent performance, no visual effect and CGI would help the actual product to look good. Even though it is quite a demand and great responsibility to be given a task to successfully act as a supernatural creature or dreadful monster and give a successful and convincing performance, the actors in this show literally killed their roles, and we can claim that they're the perfectly created and amazingly played characters in the same one. The Legacies actors know the importance of their perfectly dedicated work and do that in the best way possible. Number 4. The Gargoyle. The Gargoyle is for sure one of the most outstanding special effect monster creatures in the Legacies that appeared in Episode 2 and more precisely in the first season. The fictional character that was played by the one and only Julie Plec has been created thanks to the combination of certain practical effects and incredible special effects. The famous executive producer Brett Matthews decided to talk about how this character was actually created in one interview, and he said that was one of our very early monsters, so it was a stress test for the mythology of the show and what we could achieve practically. Because that monster is almost 100% practical, that's a guy in a suit, and could we do that in a way that didn't look cheesy? Could we achieve the show more practically than going the visual effects route for everything? I think that the great success of that episode is that creature design. So we can't wait to see what they are going to do next, or if they are going to keep their current imagination and maybe create something much innovative in the future.
Pedro.
Number 3. The inspiration behind the creatures. As we already said, to make a successful show of this kind, a rich scene with all those terrifying monsters and scary creatures, there is a whole team behind it, and without all those things, the scene would look hilarious. People would often ask and wonder how the writers and producers came up with such amazing ideas when we talk about the monsters, the way they look, the way they behave, and create a real fiction creature character that can scare your soul out. And of course, the executive producer, Brett Matthews, had also a great explanation and said that in simple words, we start with history because that's the public perception of what something looks like, and then we always put it through the Legacies filter. For something like the Dryad, it was about finding that balance between her being at once monstrous and incredibly beautiful. And with that, he is obviously emphasizing the influence of the Legacy style. About the Dryad, it wasn't what he named a name brand monster, but it is something that is not known at all. He also added, "We try to play the hits. We try to play Dragon and give you the Merman and the Mummies and the name brand monsters, but it's also fun to really poke into monsters that people just haven't heard of, that have their own rich mythology, and that's something you'll see us continue to do in Season 3. There are some very specific monsters from some very specific regions that people may never have heard of, but that's part of the fun of it. Yes, they are such a creative and hardworking team, and that's more than obvious." Number 2. The team. One of the most important things in shows like this is the effective and creative crew that stands behind the incredible effects and unrealistic scenarios. Actually, there's a whole department of extraordinary monsters in this TV show, which are created by real professionals and masters. Mark Villalobos and Heather Mages, the creators that managed to invent and manifest into existence all the fictional monsters from their beginning till the end. Brett Matthews, who's actually the executive producer of the show, as we all know already, was talking to Entertainment Weekly about the way the department operates and their collaboration with the writers on the show. As writers, we'll pull references to let them know what we're thinking. Is this a scary monster? Is it a funny monster? And we have a lot of conversations about that at the beginning. And then Mark and Heather go away and work with their team and produce a sketch that we give notes on. And a lot of times, we see that sketch and go, "You guys really think you can achieve this?" And almost every time they do, and a lot of times they exceed expectations. But generally, it ends up looking pretty close to that. The process is not that easy as we thought it is, but at least the results are magnificent, we must admit. Number 1. Vampire Eye Effect. You've for sure noticed that the most typical CGI effect in the show is the famous vampire eye effect. As the vampires are one of the main characters in the show, the people responsible for creating particularly these characters were obviously using CGI for making the vampires' eyes red or even with pulsating venues. It is known that making them that way requires a great deal of complex work that requires a lot of attention, and without precise and dedicated work with the CGI effect, these vampires would look hilarious, even though it is more than obvious that every technique while creating a fictional character or even making any modification on the actor's appearance requires a lot of patience and work. This type of craft requires enormous preciseness and effectiveness. With that said, we must admit that the Legacies crew did a great job when talking about the vampire eye treatment they used. On a related note, we wanted to know which part amazed you the most from our video. You can tell us in the comment section below. If you'd like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys!